When life gets unpredictable, preparation matters. In medicine, it's all about staying alert, ready for whatever comes through the door. On the road, it's no different. That's why Volvo designs vehicles to help anticipate risk, reduce harm, and protect lives. The Volvo XC90's advanced safety systems inspire confident decisions wherever the road takes you. The Volvo XC90, for life. Proud sponsor of the Pit Podcast. Learn more at volvocars.ca/safety.
I'm a big fan of our next guest. Reason why I'm a big fan of our next guest is because last time they were on the show, and I think it was like 2 weeks ago, it was to discuss space and commercial space launches in this country, and he was the go-to MP on that. And now this week, we got to talk about language. We got to talk about Quebec politics. And guess who's the go-to MP on that? Well, it's the same guy. Marc Garneau, who is the MP for NDG Westmount, joins us to talk about the Official Languages Act. Mr. Garneau, welcome back to the program.
Good morning, Elias.
So I love versatile guests, and you are versatile because we can talk about space or language. For today, language. I want to read to our listeners a tweet that you sent out, okay? Here's your tweet. For the Anglophone linguistic minority of Quebec, let's be crystal clear. Both the Conservative and NDP parties abandoned you yesterday by voting to keep Quebec's Law 96 enshrined in Canada's Official Languages Act, Federal Bill C-13. That was your tweet. So, Mark, what do you mean by that? What were you referencing? What did these opposition parties do to abandon the Anglophone linguistic minority of Quebec?
Well, thank you, Elias. And first of all, let me say that I believe very strongly in protecting French in Quebec, but I also believe very strongly in protecting the linguistic rights of the minority Anglophone population in Quebec, and that's where I'm coming from. We're going through a process with Federal Bill C-13, which is the modernization of the Official Languages Act, where amendments are being proposed. And my colleague, Anthony Housefather, proposed an amendment which I support fully, which would remove reference to the Quebec's Charter of the French language, which is currently in two places in a federal bill, Bill C-13. And what he wanted to do was to replace the words that are in the C-13 at the moment in the federal bill that say Quebec's Charter of the French language provides that French is the official language of Quebec. This is the only provincial charter that is referenced in the entire document. And I know it's my party that put it in there, but I'm very concerned that by having it there, you are essentially enshrining it, and it will become important later on in interpreting this law. And believe me, there will be interpretation of this. So he suggested that instead that we replace those words by the National Assembly of Quebec has determined that French is Quebec's official language within its own sphere of jurisdiction, which I have no problem with. However, not only the Bloc, which is predictable, but the Conservatives and the NDP said no to that. Mm-hmm. And my greater concern is that we still have lots of amendments to go in Bill C-13, and it is very clear to me that the Bloc, the Conservatives, and the NDP are supporting those further amendments.
Sure, okay, but
that are going to entrench.
But Mr. Garneau,
96 into Bill C-13.
Mr. Garneau, but you just said it, right? It's your bill. It's the Liberal government's bill, right? So, yeah. I mean, this is where I go, the kids use this term gaslighting, right? And I don't know if it's even applicable here because I don't even understand the term. But you know what I mean? I'm hearing this, and it's coming from the party and members of the party. It's your own bill, right? The official languages minister, Jeanette Petitpas-Taylor, this is her bill. So couldn't the argument be made that the abandoning of the Anglophone linguistic minority came first from the minister, not from the Conservatives and the NDP by not going along with these amendments?
I think that Bill C-13 has a lot of very, very good things in it. That is not perfect. And from my point of view, because I want to protect linguistic minority rights, that particular clause that I cited to you about the Charter of the French language, which is in two places in Bill C-13, should have been removed. Now, historically, it was first introduced as Bill C-32, the predecessor to Bill C-13, but that was at a time when the Charter of the French language was Bill 101. And we've all come to live with Bill 101 for decades now, and it wasn't a problem for me. But then Bill 96 came along, and it is quite different, and it, in my opinion, threatens to weaken the language rights of minority Anglophones in Quebec. And it also, as you know, makes use of the notwithstanding clause preemptively, meaning it can't be challenged. Mm-hmm. Now, that is the Charter of the Quebec language now, and it's in Bill C-13. To me, it should have been removed, and I say this, knowing that Bill C-13 has lots of other good things. But Quebecers should know that the Conservatives and the NDP are now going to continue to support block motions to make amendments to C-13 that are going to go more and more in the direction of enshrining and strengthening the presence of Law 96 in a federal bill, the one that we're
But your party has the best card of all to play, right? I mean, your party, if it wants to, could withdraw this bill. If it's going to become so flawed, since it is your bill, the Liberal Party's bill, you could withdraw it. Is that correct?
I'm not going to speak for what might happen. I'm just telling you, and this is the only thing I've spoken about. I've spoken it about twice in the Language Committee, and I owe it to my constituents, and I owe it to the linguistic minority in Quebec to speak up for them. I'm a strong Liberal, and I believe very strongly in protecting French as well in Quebec. But I felt I needed to speak up. What the government does with it, I will not try to predict.
Okay, and what you've just told us on air, have you said the exact same thing to the minister, Ginette Petitpas-Taylor? Have you said the exact same thing to her?
Yes, I have expressed myself for some time now, as have some of my other colleagues.
Do you find yourself between a rock and a hard place? I mean, you do represent NDG Westmount, maybe the most Anglo of Quebec ridings. And then you get heat in the Francophone media. I mean, there's a devastating piece in La Presse this morning about not just you, but Anthony Housefather and others in the Liberal Party, fighting for Anglophone rights on this issue. Are you stuck between a rock and a hard place when it comes to this subject?
So I'm an engineer. I do everything that I do trying to be as clear as possible, as principled as possible, and as logical as possible. And, I've been at this for 14 years as a politician. This particular issue is one where I feel I need to speak up for the English minority in Quebec, and that is what I have done. That's because I feel that is something that I could not remain silent on.
Mr. Garneau, last question. Is it logical to go after the Conservatives and the NDP in the bloc here when it is a bill coming from your government?
Well, I just wanted to make sure that the NDP and that people who follow these things were aware that the Conservatives and the NDP blocked the amendment that Mr. Housefather was proposing, and which I supported. And they will be introducing many more amendments, which, if you follow it in the course of the next couple of weeks, you will see will enshrine Law 96 more and more into this federal bill on official languages.
Mr. Garneau, the next time you're on this program, we'll try and make sure it's about space, and then we'll go back to language for the next one. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
That's Marc Garneau, Liberal MP for Notre-Dame-de-Grâce, Westmount.